With season 29 of Dancing with the Stars all wrapped up, fans are already looking ahead to next season, and former host Tom Bergeron is addressing the likelihood of returning to the show. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. We are, of course, so excited to discuss anything Dancing with the Stars with you. But before we get into it, if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos from us. Today, I am joined by the stellar Gabby, Gonta, and Fiona Zaring. Hello, both of you.
Hi,
Hello,
Tyler.
hello.
Hi there. Firstly, I think the first thing we need to address as a group here is, are you missing Dancing with the Stars as much as I am? Fiona, you start. Like, are you missing it? There's a hole in my heart right now.
Oh my God, I'm totally missing it. And these crazy life at home 2020 times, it was such a nice little treat during the week. So I am missing it, but I'm happy for Caitlin. And we were treated to such a great season. So overall,
We were.
still happy that it happened.
Same. I'm missing it a lot. I even turned on that Disney like dance and sing along special on Monday because I was just like, what do I do with my Monday nights now? And I need some dancing and like happiness in my life. So I turned that on and it was, enough for now, but I'm certainly missing the season of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, I'm very much with you both. It's very much with you both. I feel my Monday nights are like, what do I do with my Monday nights now? But for those of you who may have just started Dancing with the Stars, let's get into it. This season, if you just started watching, you may not know that the show's host of 15 years was replaced this season with Tyra Banks. Tom Bergeron was the host for 15 years, which is gnarly. I mean, that is 15 years. That's a long time. In a statement made by ABC, of course, back in July, the network addressed the replacement, claiming they were going in, quote, a new direction. In July, Tom himself tweeted about it, his departure, saying, quote, just informed at Dancing ABC, will be continuing without me. It's been an incredible 15-year run and the most unexpected gift of my career. I'm grateful for that and for the lifelong friendships made. That said, now what am I supposed to do with all of these glitter masks? I appreciate. You can still wear them, Tom. Wear them at any time. You do not need to just have Dancing with the Stars wear those glitter masks. As you can imagine, of course, fans of the show were not thrilled initially about this change. And it was announced that the show's co-host of 6 seasons, Erin Andrews, who began her time at the show in 2014, would also be leaving the show. So it was both of them leaving. People were upset. Judge Carrie Ann Inaba in an interview in July with The Talk said, quote, we're a bonded family and I love them both so much. And I cried when I heard the news, as well as I think a lot of our fans did. So again, I mean, fans were not thrilled about this change. And on Twitter, you could see over and over and over again, people expressing their disappointment with the decision on the network's part. And before we get into anything else, I'm curious what both of you were thinking when this was announced, when Tom was leaving and Tyra was taking his place. Gabby, like, do you remember where were you but do you remember when you heard and like what was going through your head as a fan of the show?
I did. I was so excited for Tyra because I am like the biggest Top Model fan. Like that was actually my favorite show when I was like in high school or whenever it was airing. So I loved her so much. And I thought this was a great transition role, a perfect place for her to be hosting. And it didn't turn out as perfect as my expectations were, I would say. And I love Tom and Erin. So it makes sense that so many people are just like attached to them and their, place on this show. But I was excited at first. So.
I actually felt very similar to you. I loved Top Model when I was younger. I loved Tyra, always have. I've seen her host other things before. She brings such a great energy. So I was like, oh, cool, Tyra's hosting. But to be fair, I also can't claim to be like a Dancing with the Stars loyalist. I've watched it on and off. I've always loved Tom and loved Erin. But I don't think that I had like as much of a loyal attachment as some of the other fans out there. Which is sort of interesting because I totally get it. If you're like a diehard fan, you're going to be wary of a huge change like this. I mean, Dancing with the Stars was an incredibly well-oiled machine for 15 years. So being like, hey, what the heck, ABC, what are you doing to me? Is totally fair. And I think it really speaks to how wonderful Tom and Erin were that this many fans were really disappointed to see them go. When the past season started, fans continued to make it known on social media that they were not thrilled with Tyra. A lot of people made it clear that they felt Tyra wasn't cutting it. she hadn't quite mastered the seamless post-performance conversations with the contestants while the judges deliberated. The first few episodes definitely felt a little
Mhm.
choppy, definitely a completely different style from Tom's. Of course, this is totally understandable considering she was brand new to the show. Tyra is no stranger to hosting TV, but Dancing with the Stars is like a whole other beast than what she has done before. The dislike, though, only increased when the infamous tally mix-up happened in October. Do you guys remember this?
Oh yeah.
Tyra told cheer coach Monica Aldama she was safe, only to then call her back out for the bottom two when Tyra stated there was an error in the control room. It was very messy, very, classic live TV situation.
Mhm.
Even if the mistake really happened in the control room, she's the host, she's the one
Yeah.
delivering the news, so she was blamed. The anti-Tyra sentiment sort of escalated from here, and the show's producer had to release a statement claiming that the error was not at all Tyra's fault because America was not ready to forgive her easily. So, you guys, I remember this moment. I remember being like, oh, what's happening? This is so bad. I mean, how did you feel when all of this went down? What was going through your mind, Tyler?
I remember doing a shared news video about this happening because I think, of course, when we saw the mix up, we in our recap we sort of touched on it and we're like, oh my god, that was so awkward. Luckily, Monica didn't go home that week, so okay, whatever, that happens. But we had to do a follow up video because of all of the backlash. Me personally, I thought it was a little uncalled for. Ultimately, stuff like that happens all the time. I think it's really unfortunate. It was happening on an earlier episode of a season that Tyra was her first go around hosting. It just didn't look good and didn't help her because people were already not feeling great about her taking over. So I just felt bad for her more than anything. I think she dealt with it as best she could. She was reading what was on the cards. She had to address it, and she's like, live TV, folks. So I don't know. I think people are obviously really hard on her, and I'm not exactly sure why. Because I like both of you, I was a huge America's Next Top Model fan. Hello, I loved that show, and I loved Tyra in that show. So I don't know. I thought it was a little uncalled for, but what about you, Gabby? What do you think?
I think so too. I think people
Mm,
were just looking for a reason, for Tyra to just go
yeah.
after her like that, and it ended up happening, unfortunately for her. But I mean, it's like a classic Oscars 2017 moment.
Oh, of
Like big
course.
stuff happens like that. Like cards get wrong, or like mistakes happen on live TV. So, like the producer said, it wasn't her fault. It's like a whole team of people doing this. So it is funny though when people say like, "Oh, that would have never happened if it was Tom," but that's just Twitter, people being mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I side with Tyra on this. That I think she handled it super well, and you know, all we can do is just like keep encouraging her and supporting her, because I'm sure it's no fun to go on Twitter or go on social media and see that people are just like hating on you so much.
Oh
So
yeah.
if she's gonna get better, like she needs to have a strong base behind her. So it was bumpy at the beginning, as we said, for Tyra, but of course that is to be expected when you're the host of a brand new show. And I think that she definitely got better as the season progressed. So what do you guys think? I mean, overall, there were some hiccups here and there, but it was a new show. We're, under these COVID guidelines. It's just completely uncharted territory for everybody.
Mhm.
So how do you think, she progressed throughout the season and ended up being, iconic in a way, this new diverse host
Mhm.
that we have in this role? She ended up doing, I think, overall a great job. What do you think, Tyler, of her progression?
I am a huge again, I'm a Tyra fan. I love how she like would do outfit changes. She was so encouraging as a judge. I mean, she and that's sort of what I love about a not a judge, rather a host, excuse me, just a host in this show in such a high stress environment where these three judges are just like attacking these dancers, and it's very difficult and high stress. I think Tyra is the perfect, because hello, America's Next Top Model is a stressful show, or was a stressful show. I mean, boy, with all that high stress, I mean, all these models like so upset. Tyra knows how to deal with people under a stressful situation, and I felt that she kind of talked to all the contestants so well, praised them when they deserved it, and was just sort of like an every woman, and but with awesome outfits. So I think she
Yeah.
annihilated, and I think she's only going to get better. Sort of like what you were saying, Gabby. I mean, like Tom has had 15 years under his belt. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows how the show works. He could do it in his sleep. It's so stressful having this situation. And like you said, Gabby, with these COVID-19 restrictions, there's no live audience to feed from. I think that really does help from a host perspective. So I just think keep Tyra around and it'll be fine. Like, she's going to get the hang of it and I think she is well equipped for this role.
I totally agree. I think that, I always loved, I don't know if you guys watched So You Think You Can Dance, but the host of that show, Kat Deely, she, just like Tyra, is so great. Like, there are contestants standing next to her. Granted, they're trained dancers on So You Think You Can Dance, but regardless, like, their fate is in these judges' hands. They're so nervous. And I thought, like, there were so many moments where Tyra, to me, like, hit that exact same energy. And I was thinking, like, oh, I would be so happy to be standing next to her, like, in this moment, because she really does offer a great energy to the contestants. And I think more than anything, like, Dancing with the Stars has been around for such a long time. They're trying to create a new chapter. That new chapter happened to fall during COVID times. Like, at the end of the day, this season was incredibly talked about. So many people that, like myself, were not in the Dancing with the Stars world either came back on board or got interested this season. And I think that you have to give some credit to Tyra for that, because she brings new people. America's Next Top Model fans are loyal. I mean, like, I would just not believe that nobody tuned in just to be like, let me see how she's doing. So just like anything else, I think she's going to continue to grow, continue to find her place. The longer she's been there, to kind of pave her own way, the direct comparisons to Tom will probably start to fade. So I don't know. I think she ultimately found her way, and she will continue to get better and better.
She will most definitely keep getting better if she remains on the show. But for those diehard Tom fans that we were talking about, they're wondering if there's a possibility that he might return to the show because of all of the Tyra backlash and just people wishing Tom was back. So in an interview with TV Guide recently, Tom addressed these rumors. He said, quote, "When people say, I'm not going to watch until you're back, I say, well, there's really no until here. This train has left the station. I appreciate the sentiment. I don't hold it against anybody if they watch." So as of now, looks like Tom said that won't be in the near future, him coming back. The train is left, his run on the show is done, and they've clearly gone in a different direction and they're sticking with it. So at least not in the near future, we won't be seeing Tom back as the host on the Dancing with the Stars ballroom. And, that's just his perspective, but I would be curious to see if he would say yes, if, one day in the future, the show returned to him and said, hey, like, everybody wants you back. We might go back to our old ways. So we'll have to see how that all unfolds. But for now, nothing from Tom. So what do you guys think? We've heard from him now. Should we give Tyra another chance? Will things get better? Or do you think these fans that have been watching for so long are just not going to get on board anymore?
This is with any competition show that people have been watching forever. What happened? I'm sure there was backlash when the American Idol hosts changed, like when Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul were no longer, I'm sure people were like, no. And then when you grow, you change. And I think, Fiona, your point about the direct comparison from Tom to Tyra will end in that'll just take time, because then it becomes more of a distant thing, what Tom did rather than what Tyra did. Not that either of them is doing anything right or wrong. So I'm all for, bring Tyra back. I think she dealt with the entire situation so well. She was throwing some curveballs. Lest we forget Jeannie Mai leaving the competition, and then you have them having to readjust this double elimination that week. That was all Tyra, explaining sort of how the situation with grace. I just think we don't give her maybe enough, or I think us three give her enough credit, but maybe not America as a whole, or at least the vocal people on Twitter give her enough credit for how seamless it was, all things considered. Of course, there were some choppy bits, especially at the beginning, but ultimately, by the end, I wasn't thinking about Tyra at all. I was just thinking about the competition. I think that's a good sign. If you don't leave being Tyra wasn't very strong, you shouldn't really be thinking about the host in that way. And we didn't toward the end of the season. I was like, who the heck's going to win this competition? So yeah, I'm all for her sticking around.
I totally agree. I think that it would be, first of all, it would just be kind of a bad look on ABC. You take this huge leap with someone, you give them one season, and then you fall to Twitter pressure. That's just not how ABC is going to conduct themselves, unless Tyra bombs, like flat on her face every single week, which she just didn't do. As far as Tom like ever coming back, you know, shows evolve, shows change. Maybe there are conversations being had behind closed doors about like we wanted Tyra's energy, we wanted Tyra to like put some new life into this show, but what if we bring Tom back? We've done 2 hosts before. Like maybe we sort of give everybody what they want. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't be super opposed to that. I think that Tom is a great host in and of himself, but I liked this season and I thought Tyra did a great job, and I don't think she needs a co-host. You know what I mean? I think that they should give her the stage that she deserves, and you know what? If she's open to the idea of bringing more people into the party and thinks that that could be fun, that's a conversation she's going to be a part of, because remember, she's not just a host, she's also a producer of the show now as well. So she's going to be, you know, in the room where it happens, making the calls. So I'm curious to see how it evolves, but I definitely think that we will be seeing Tyra back in that ballroom next season.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. I agree. I think it'll be interesting. And I cannot wait for next season. I'm like, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? I'm just dying to know if another Bachelor Nation person's going to make it super far for a 3-per. That's what I keep it's playing in my head. This is what happens in my mind, everyone, during this time. Well, that is all we have in terms of Dancing with the Stars news today. But of course, we want to know your thoughts. Please, do you like Tom? Do you miss him? Do you think Tyra proved a good host this season? Are you already counting down the days for season 30 of the show, like I think the 3 of us are? Please do let us know down in the comments. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos from us. We always love talking about Dancing with the Stars. If you're at all a fan, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Joseph Ellis. If you want to see more of me, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TylerJoe33 and on TikTok at Tyler Joseph Ellis. Gabby, where can they find you?
You can follow me at Gabby Gonta. Fiona?
Love it.
You can follow me at Fiona Zaring.
Bada boom. Well, everyone, have an amazing weekend coming up. I hope you all are staying safe, doing well, and happy holidays. Until next time.